Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how to make this one because I had a request because I've done the panoramic 3D panoramic panel tower card and I had a request for a 5x7 version. So this is kind of a 5x7 version with a bit of a twist because I thought if I just do a 5x7 it's a bit boring, you know, because we've already had the original, so I just thought I'd do it slightly differently. So but you can obviously go off piste and do it how we did it originally. But with this one, what I've done is I've actually just, as you can see, the slight difference in the height of that center one against the others. And also with this one, I haven't stuck it together. You can stick yours together if you want to. If you want to do it without this back panel, just stick all your cubes together like you would normally, your pillars together like you would normally. Then you can make yourself, you know, just a normal 5x7. Or if you want to, I'm going to show you in this one how to do it like this. So you put your back panel on, and then you can either stick the pillars together or you can have them so that they all kind of splay out like that. So they kind of, it kind of makes it more drawn out. It's really up to you. So you've got a few different versions, really, a few different options in this card, in this tutorial even. And then on the back, you've got lots of space to write with it being one with it having a back panel on it. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So just a little note as well, which I don't mention in the actual video, I need to mention now. The pillars themselves need to be made out of card that's about 180 to 210. You don't want to GSM, you don't want to go much thicker than that. The backing card, as I mentioned in the video, needs to be thicker. So this needs to be more like a 240 heading up to a 300 really for this backing piece, because you want that to be nice and stable. You don't want any kind of, you know, too much flexing in it. The papers I've used are from Docrafts, and it's this cherry blossom pack. It's from a few years ago now, but they're really beautiful papers. This is the 12x12 I've got here, and because of that, these stalks are quite large, and normally I can't really find much to do with the stalks, but for this card it's perfect. It's got one big stalk right in the middle, cut him up, and it's fine. This is actually from the A4 die cut pad that they did. So they did a pad that had decoupage on it, and it also had a few A4 sheets of paper behind the pattern paper, so that came out of that. So yeah, so that's the card. I think I've covered everything I need to cover. Yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so to make this card you need some of the similar kind of things you had with the original panoramic panel card, 3D panoramic panel card. However, with this one has more sections going across, so it's more towers. So the other one had 5 towers and this has got 7. Okay, so that's a bit of a difference. Now I've cut out some of my bits already. I've done the matte layer slightly different to how we did it originally. The base layer is the same, and then the pattern panel, I've done it again as a panel because then we're going to cut it up in a certain way. So to start with, your base card, you need quite a lot of base card pieces. Now I'm using black, and I am aware that with black sometimes you can't see where I've scored, but because the score lines are quite easy, I'm hoping that it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm going to get my scoreboard out now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take you through each piece and where you score. So you need one, this is all base card, so you need one base card piece that is 4.5 inches by 5 inches, and along the 4.5 inches you want to score at 1 inch, at 2 inches, at 3 inches, and at 4 inches. Okay, so that's your 4.5 by 5 inch piece. Then you need 2 pieces that are 4 by 4, and obviously it doesn't matter which side you score on. And you're going to score these at 7/8 of an inch, 1 3/4, 2 5/8, and 3.5. Okay, and you're going to do that the same on the other one. So, okay, so that's your 2 4x4s done. Then you need 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 3 inches, and you're going to score along the 4 inch side, and you're going to score exactly the same as you've just done. So in 7/8 of an inch, 1 3/4, 2 5/8, and 3.5. then you just need two pieces that are 2 inches by 4 inches. Again, you want to score along the 4-inch edge and the exact same score lines you've just done. So 7/8, 1 3/4, 2 5/8, and 3 1/2. Okay, so then what you want to do is go ahead and fold and burnish all of your score lines. Okay, so you should end up with that. So that's all your different pieces. Now what we want to do now is with them, fold them down so that you've got all your mountain folds. They're all mountain folds, not valleys. And then on all the tabs, you want to put red tape. Okay, so you end up with that. So then what we want to do is do as we normally do. You probably know the drill by now. Take your piece that you're going to fold, turn it over, fold along the second score line like that. Take the backing tape off and then fold the last score line across, and then that gives you a little pillar. So we're going to go ahead and do that with all of our cubes. Okay, so you should end up with one big one, two slightly smaller again, and two very small. Okay, so now what you're going to need to do is cut yourself out some matte layers. So your matte layers, you need one piece that is 7/8 by 4 7/8, and that's obviously going to go on the front of the biggest one. You need two pieces that are 3/4 by 3 7/8, which are going to go on here. You need two pieces that are 3/4 by 2 7/8, which are going to go on there. Oh. And you need two pieces that are 3/4 by 1 7/8, which are going to go on there. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to stick all of our mats down. Okay, so there's all your little pillars done. So now you need to bring in your pattern paper, and your pattern paper needs to be 4.5 wide by 4 3/4 tall. And what you want to do is you want to cut it into 5/8, 5/8, 5/8, and then same from this side, 5/8, 5/8, 5/8. Okay, and then the piece in the middle will end up being 7/8. Sorry, no, it won't. It'll end up being 3/4. 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I have actually on the back, I don't know if you can see, I've got little pencil lines. I've done little pencil lines where the 5/8 is. Just because when I get down to the last 5/8, I can't really do it on the guillotine very easily. So I'm going to go ahead now and trim this down. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut my pieces out. Now this one here is fraction. This is 3/4 and these are 5/8. It doesn't look much different because it's literally 1/8 of an inch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rearrange these so they're in the right order. So if you take your center one, take your two that are next biggest, they're going to go either side. Take the two that are next bigger again, they're going to go either side, and take the two that are bigger, that are smaller again, they're either side. So that's the formation that you're going for, okay? So then once you've got them in the right formation, I would go ahead and stick your central one straight on, okay? Now stick that on straight away, and then we're going to cut these down so that they fit. But it's better if you can do this one first because it gets it out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start moving our way out. So these two here that are either side of the big piece, if you take one of them, what you're going to do is you just need to cut off half an inch off the top and half an inch off the bottom. Okay, so that's that one done. So that should now hopefully fit nicely onto your box. Okay, and that's going to go in there. And we're going to do the same with the one on the other side. Okay, so that's that one done, and that's going to go on there like that. Okay, so the next one's along. So these here, these are going to have an inch off the top and an inch off the bottom. Both of, not these two pieces here, both have an inch off the top and an inch off the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those off, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done those, so that's what they look like. And then you're left with the two outer ones. Now these need an inch and a half off the top and an inch and a half off the bottom. So when you're planning your pattern, just make sure that whatever the focus of your pattern is, it's in the center. Okay, so if you've got like things at the top and the bottom that you want and they're on the side, you're not gonna see them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut these off now. Okay, so I've cut them all down. So now we're just going to go ahead and stick them all onto their relevant pillars. Okay, so once you've stuck all your pieces down, you should end up with this. Now, you can just stick your boxes together if you want to, like we did before, and just have it freestanding. But I thought I'd do something a bit different this time around. So I'm actually going to mount it onto a backing card. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to like it, but we're going to give it a go. Why not? Why not? So what you want to do is move these bits to one side. And you're going to bring in a piece of card. Now you do need a reasonable GSM for this. You don't want to go flimsy. With the actual pillars, you really want like 180 to 210 GSM. But for this piece, you really need it to be at least 240, I would say. This one is, I think it's heading up towards the 300s, this is. And then on top of that, you want to stick a piece of pattern paper. I would keep it quite plain if I were you. So the back, this bit here measures 5 inches by 6¼ inches. This pattern piece measures 4 7/8 high by 6 1/8 wide. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this pattern piece onto the matte piece. And then I've also got another piece of the same pink, which I'm going to put on the back, which will be for the message, for you to write your message. Because that's the other advantage with doing the backing, is that then you've got more of an option of where to stick, where to write your message. Otherwise you've got quite a small area to write on. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. And there we go. So that's that piece done, and then I'm also going to stick a piece on the other side, the same measurement as what you've got on the front. I made mine slightly smaller, so I made it a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around instead of an 1/8. But it's up to you what you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. Okay, I'm going to turn this back over. So this is going to be my front, and on the front, obviously it measures 6 1/4. So half of 6 1/4 is 3 1/8. So at 3 1/8, I'm just going to make a tiny little pencil mark. So 3 1/8 is there, and 3 1/8 is here, just so I can see where the centre is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the largest one, and that is going to go bang in the centre. Okay, now I've just realised that for some reason, my tower is slightly taller than my backing card. So I don't know what I've done there. I've obviously measured it slightly wrong. I do have a bit of a height difference going on there. But I can't really do much about it now because I've already stuck my patterns and mats on the front. So we're just going to have to live with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick this on. Now I would advise, because this measures an inch across. So you want to make sure that this panel goes on bang on. Like you literally, it has to be bang on. If this is not bang on, then it throws all of your other pillars out and you're going to end up with pillars hanging off the edge of your card, which you don't want. So I'm just going to mark that little halfway mark that I made at 3 1/8. I'm just marking 1/2 inch either side. So now I know that this has to fit within those 2 little marks. And if it does that, that is going to be bang on. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this down onto the front of my card. Okay, so that's the first one stuck down. So now we're going to go ahead and stick the next 2 in. And obviously they need to stick so that they stick to the actual, the base of the card. And you can stick them next door if you want to, or you can leave them loose, whatever you want to do. I might leave mine loose, but I'm not entirely sure, because I'm not sure whether that might help it to fold flat if I leave it loose. So I'm going to stick it to the back anyway. I'm going to stick one onto the back. And then we will see how well it folds, because you have to remember it needs to fold flat. And the reason why I've not gone for 5x7 on that back panel is because when it folds, the whole thing is going to fold down and will be a 5x7. But it won't be a 5x7 if you stick it too far. If you use a 5x7 back panel. I'm just going to use the top and bottom as a guide. Stuck it in the middle yet. I'm going to stick this one on the other side, and you need to be very careful that you make sure that you've got an even gap at the top and the bottom of all of these panels that you're sticking down. So we're going to stick that in like that, and then I'm just going to have a look. I'm going to look at it like this so I can get it right. And you want to make sure that this here is level with that one there, because I did do one recently that was not stuck onto a panel and I forgot to check that they were level with the one on the other side, and unfortunately they weren't. So that's that one, like that. And then we're going to stick these 2 on, and hopefully we have space on the end for these 2. Now as you can see, this one's hanging off, this one's not. So obviously something along the way is not quite right, but anyway, we're just going to stick it on anyway. Okay, so I've gone ahead and stuck them down. As you can see, I've gone over slightly on this side. So I'm just wondering whether you might be better off to stick your boxes together and then stick them onto the backing card, because then you can make sure that the backing card fits. So that might be a better option. A bit of a shame. I quite like them without, you know, not stuck onto the back. But yeah, it just means that then on the back you have a lot of space to write. As you can see, my little piece that's gone over there. I'm not very happy about, but anyway, never mind. We live and learn. We live and learn. And again, if you want to, you can stick these independent ones. You can stick them all together if you want to, or if you wanted to, you could actually. In fact, I might get away with it that way. Although then it's going to be slightly bigger, isn't it? But if you wanted to, you could do that. So you kind of fold them out a little bit, so you see how they sort of go. See how they sort of splay out. But if you do that, it just means that in order to go in your envelope, the whole thing is going to measure just over 8 inches by 5. But you could do that. That's another option. And that would then mean that if you do go over like I have there, you can kind of cover it up. Okay. And you've got a bit of a gap in between. I quite like it splayed out actually. So that's another option. Okay. And then all I need to do is add a greeting. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so just gone ahead and stuck a little thank you on the bottom there. And yeah, so there's your finished card. So obviously You could, as I said, you could do it without this backing piece if you want to, and just stick them together as we did before, which would make you 5 by 7, because then if you stick them all together like that, when you fold them off to one side to get them in the envelope, that does make 7 inches wide and 5 inches tall. If you stick them on the back like this, stick them together on the back so it's like that, that would also still be a 5 by 7, because you fold it off to one side, you still have a 5 by 7. If you're splaying them out like I have here, that will not, well, you could still actually put it in as a 5. You could still fold it in the envelope like that, as long as the person knows to kind of splay them out. Otherwise it's a 5 by 8. But yes, I hope you had a go. You've got lots of space on the back to write. That's what I like about it. And it stands up. I mean, to be honest, they stand up well anyway, but this stands up well because you've got the extra piece on it. So yeah, so hopefully you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.